So we introduced the geography yesterday. You'll get the PPT today. वो syllabus की PPT है, इतना टेंशन की बात नहीं थी कि वो PPT कुछ भेजने वाला था मैं. That was just a syllabus का PPT. And before I go, I'm asking you some of the basic questions. Is can I say the resources are related to the age of the earth or to the landforms? Yes. Can I say the older the landform, there is a greater chance of metallic minerals being found in that landform? So can I say peninsular India is one of the oldest landforms in the world? Yes, peninsular India is one of the oldest landforms in the world. Someone asked me question yesterday that what is peninsular India? So peninsular India के लिए what is the meaning of the word peninsula? Peninsula means any land which is surrounded by water on three sides, not the four side. Four side agar hai to it is island. So peninsular India means, now you can understand, if we consider our India, so Himalayas, after that Aravallis, after that we have Gujarat coast, and then we find this region. So can you tell me now what is this peninsular India? This part of India is known as an peninsular India. Up to go into detail, what is the part of an peninsular India? Peninsular India कहाँ से शुरू होता है? The peninsular India starts from Aravallis, उसके बाद द पेनिनसुलर इंडिया गोज यहाँ पे, जहाँ पे द नेम ऑफ अ वर्ड, द लैंड हियर इज नोन एज मारवाड़ प्लाटू. और यहाँ पे जो लोग जहाँ से ओरिजिनेट हुए दे आर नोन एज मारवाड़ीज. सो द मारवाड़ प्लाटू इज एन पेनिनसुलर इंडिया. दैट इज, कैन आई से, सम पार्ट्स ऑफ राजस्थान. Then after that we come to the central highlands. They are known as in central highlands by the Britishers, or in the ancient India they were called as central highlands. Central highlands because peninsula is an example of, हम क्या लिखते हैं, peninsular plateau या plain. We write it as an plateau. And what is the difference between plateau and a plain? Mountain at a greater heights, hills at a lower height. Plateau, a flat area but at a greater height. Plain, a flat area but more or less near to the sea level. So can I say plateau is nothing but a table? If I want to tell you a basic difference between plateau and a plain is, agar ye floor is a plain, so this is an plateau because it is again a flat region but at a greater height. So peninsula is an example of plateau, and peninsular plateau mein this part of India is known as in central highlands. This part of India is known as in Chota Nagpur plateau. This part of India is known as an Maharashtra plateau. This part of India is known as an Karnataka plateau. While the other part of India in this region is known as Telangana plateau and Rayalaseema plateau. Then the plateau goes even into the northeast India, जहाँ पे the names of the plateau is Meghalaya plateau, or it is known as Garo, Khasi and Jaintia. So this is an India में peninsular plateau. So Aravallis से शुरू होके right up to the Karnataka is the, or right up to this part is the peninsular plateau. And this, why क्यों है ये peninsular plateau? Because it is at a greater height. Now if something is at a greater height, if you stand on the opposite side, तो आपको लगेगा that opposite side you will feel it is like a mountain. Suppose if this is a plateau and if you stand on the ground and watch on the top, you will feel this is a mountain. So peninsular plateau also has some of the mountainous ranges जिसको हम कहते हैं the edges of the peninsular plateau, and this is Vindhyas. This is Satpuras, this is Western Ghats, and this is Eastern Ghats. So that is why it is bounded by the mountainous region, therefore we will call this as an peninsular plateau. So this, remember, is one of the oldest landmass in the world, and this oldest landmass in the world shares its origin with Canadian Shield region, shares its origin with Africa, shares its origin with Australia and shares its origin with Antarctica. आज पता चलेगा विथ अंटार्कटिका. इसलिए अगर कोई मिनरल पेनिनसुलर प्लाटू में मिलता है, दैट मीन्स दैट मिनरल इज ऑल्सो फाउंड इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, दैट मीन्स दैट मिनरल इज ऑल्सो फाउंड इन अंटार्कटिका. दैट इज वाई इंडिया इज एन पार्ट ऑफ अंटार्कटिका रिसर्च प्रोग्राम. क्या मिल रहा है अभी अंटार्कटिका में? वाई वी आर स्पेंडिंग बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर ऑन अंटार्कटिका? आइस देखने के लिए? नो. पानी के लिए? नो. दैट इज बिकॉज देयर इज अ लॉ दैट द कंट्री विच ऑक्यूपाइज एन टेरिटरी फर्स्ट, in case of some kind of an discovery of natural resources, the natural law says that that part belongs to the country, or the natural resources country can claim. And when we will go to environment and ecology, we will see कि natural resources ढूंढने पड़ेंगे, because right now as we are here, हमें और 2.5 गुना ज़्यादा अर्थ चाहिए. We require 2.5 times the bigger earth to sustain ourselves. And जब तक ये 2.5 गुना अर्थ नहीं मिलेगा तो there will be differences between haves and have-nots of the society. That means rich people या rich countries will exploit the poor because resources are limited. Rich states or rich cities will exploit the poor region because resources are limited. So one of this, so now you understood what is an peninsular plateau. So कल अगर हमने कल आज के लेक्चर से we will be continuously referring to the peninsular plateau. So मुझे अगर आपको peninsular plateau का आउटलाइन बताना है, so it does not mean Himalayas, it does not mean Great Plains, it means this region. This is the peninsular plateau, and also it means the hills of Garo, Khasi and Jaintia. So this is the peninsular plateau, which is one of the oldest landmass in the world. Now the second concept which we should know before we go to further is central highlands. फिर central highlands because they are found in the central part of India, this entire region. So Britishers ने इनको नाम दिया central highlands. After independence we gave this region the name of Madhya Pradesh. मध्य प्रदेश के ऊपर जो area है that became उत्तर प्रदेश. Peninsular plateau का some part became Rajasthan. On other hand, desert वाला region, but that is plain, semi-desert या desert वाला region that is plains became Haryana. On the region जहाँ पे Indus is flowing became Punjab. When you come to the Chota Nagpur plateau, this became the state of Jharkhand. Afterwards, ये जो depression है बीच में, which is surrounded by this plateau and this plateau, this became the state of Chhattisgarh. Then this became the state of Telangana. But Andhra रह गया. It consists today of Rayalaseema plateau and the coastal Andhra Pradesh. The Garo Khasi Jaintia region became the state of Assam. And जहाँ पे गंगा डेल्टा बनाती है, जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा पानी है, depending upon the level of water, Bihar and Bengal and Tripura. जो hilly regions थे इंडिया के, they were divided into different states, that is Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland because वहाँ पे Naga Hills है, Manipur because वहाँ पे Manipur Hills है, Mizo because it is an Mizo Hills. Then when we come to this part in the peninsular India का proper part, the region of black soil became the state of Maharashtra. The region of oldest rocks in the world became the state of Karnataka. The region of Kadapa rocks जो oldest के बाद थे became Telangana and Rayalaseema. And उसके बाद जो coastal region है that became Tamil Nadu और Kerala. So go home today and look at 2018-17 का मेंस का क्वेश्चन पेपर, and उसमें social issues का एक क्वेश्चन है. So उस क्वेश्चन is, can we say that social divisions in India are influenced by geography of India? So we are not writing the answer. अभी तक हमने Indian geography शुरू भी नहीं किया. But can I say that India में geography is influenced in the terms of sociology, in the term social divisions, that is the linguistic state का divisions in India are influenced by the geography? To some extent, they are influenced by geography. These are the kind of the questions they ask you in mains. knowledge of geography, knowledge of society, knowledge of polity, Dhar commission, JVP commission, सब कुछ पता होना चाहिए. Then you have to integrate it with the knowledge of geography and make a final answer in the main examination in 7 minutes and complete the answer in 200 words. 20 questions. 20 questions में से if in that 20 questions if you can write around 17 questions, 3 क्वेश्चन इनकम्प्लीट रह गए. नेक्स्ट पेपर गए फिर से 3 क्वेश्चन इनकम्प्लीट रह गए. ऐसे 4 जीएस के 4 पेपर में हर एक में 3-3 क्वेश्चन इनकम्प्लीट रह गए. यू आर आउट ऑफ द रेस फॉर दैट ईयर. रिमेंबर दिस. कॉम्पिटिशन इज वेरी वेरी टफ इन मेंस. सो वहाँ पे ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम you will have to develop the answer writing skill, thinking skill and taking out the information. You should also know before we start, to bring little bit seriousness in you, is the difference between the 5th ranker and the person who is out of the list in the open category is not more than 25 to 30 marks. 25 to 30 marks कहीं पे भी आ सकते हैं, or to maximum extent 40 marks out of 2000 marks. 2000 marks में से 40 marks is nothing. So first 5 people toppers जो है, they are of a different breed you can say, but because there are numerous things which you will realize over the period of time कि उस दिन small things matter. Prelims के समय I have seen people पेट खराब हो गया, 1 साल बर्बाद हो गया. क्यों पेट खराब हो गया? पहले दिन समोसा खाया. So all these small things matter and therefore you have a right now develop a path, develop the answer writing practice over the period of time. आज से जो हम geography करेंगे, go home and revise it again and again, and when you revise the same topics again and again you will develop insights, because geography history ये 2 महीने चलेगा. you will never even realize कि एक subject खत्म हो गया, क्या नया आया है. कल से you will have every Saturday you will be having 2 classes. Tomorrow you are having 1 class 11 to 2, that is current affairs, and then 11:30 to 2 that is current affairs ka class, and 2:30 to 5 is the geography ka class. Similarly Sunday you will be having 11 to the 1:30 current affairs ka class, in which we will be dealing with the entire current affairs by the Santosh sir. So usme bhi information bahut zyada hai. So this things be regular with the class and घर पे जाके सिर्फ होमवर्क करना है. आज का जैसे मैं होमवर्क बताऊंगा आफ्टर वी फिनिश अ टॉपिक कि ये चैप्टर एनसीईआरटी में से करना है तो करो प्रॉपरली. कल के लिए मत छोड़ो, कल वापस नहीं आएगा. टुमारो नेवर कम्स. सो रिमेंबर दिस थिंग. सेकेंडली, बिकॉज अभी यू विल रियलाइज कि आंसर नहीं बनते. यू विल रियलाइज इन द फर्स्ट पेपर इटसेल्फ 5 क्वेश्चन ही मिलेंगे आपको सब्जेक्टिव के, 2 ही लिख पाएंगे मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल, एंड द बेस्ट विल बी द पर्सन हु कैन राइट 3. So out of 5. So with this and उसमें अगर geography है etc है तो you should make diagrams, otherwise marks नहीं मिलेंगे. So coming back to our subject, that is, then can I say the youngest fold mountains are the highest fold mountains in the world? Yes. Why? Because youngest है, they are being built in the recent times, and because they are being built in the recent time, आज भी उनकी height is increasing due to some reasons. So can I say Himalayas का height is increasing every year? Yes. So whatever we see on the surface of the earth, you should remember that it is an outcome of the 2 forces. एक है destructive forces which originate from the atmosphere, rainfall, weathering, erosion, which will cause reduction of the height of any landform, and एक है constructive forces जो हम plate tectonics में पढ़ेंगे, which will fold and result into formation of mountains. The final thing on the surface of the earth, the final relief feature on the surface of the earth is an outcome of constructive and destructive forces. Destructive forces will help in reduction of a landform and constructive forces will help in increase the height of a landform. जितना young है means constructive forces are dominating. So Himalayas are the young fold mountains. On other hand, oldest mountain in the world, Aravallis, जो इंडिया में ही है, which was once as high as Himalayas, you do not even see that as a mountain today, unless you go to Mount Abu, unless you cross the Alwar unless you cross Ajmer तो थोड़ा hilly region शुरू हो जाता है. Once you go to the south of Jaipur तो थोड़ा mountainous region शुरू हो जाता है. So you can see, is it why it is? Because there is no constructive forces operating now. Construction has stopped. अब there is only destructive forces which are operating. उसके बाद we have some middle age mountains. That middle age mountains are what are known as, we have done yesterday, they are an example of Appalachian mountains. They are an example of the Scandinavian mountains. They are an example of Ural mountains. They are in middle age mountains. Now all these mountains, can I conclude, ये right भी हो सकता है, ये wrong भी हो सकता है, but you tell me whether the statement which I am making, conclusion which I am making is right or wrong. Geographically, scientifically हम बाद में देखेंगे. That can I conclude that because the Aravallis का some part is not eroded, because Appalachians का some part is not eroded, that means they must be made up of minerals which are tougher than the surrounding regions. Yes, इसीलिए they are found at a greater heights as compared to the surrounding regions. And which minerals are generally tougher? Metallic minerals or non-metallic minerals? Metallic minerals. And what is the best example of metallic minerals? Iron ore, can I say, is the best example of metallic minerals. So Aravallis ka greatest height, what is the highest point of Aravallis? Guru Shikhar. कहाँ पे है? Mount Abu in Rajasthan. So can I say वहाँ पे metallic minerals मिल सकते हैं? Yes, metallic minerals है, इसलिए तो वो height पे है. And with this knowledge, if this conceptual clarity is there, solving questions in prelims is easy. Because NCERT पढ़ोगे, XYZ पढ़ोगे, छोटी छोटी iron ore mines in India नहीं पढ़ोगे. पर UPSC ने इसी साल पूछा, Rajasthan has deposits of iron ore. पता नहीं था, yes or no. But if you know this conceptual clarity, कि yes, peninsular plateau है, peninsular plateau में iron ore सबसे common है, and coal भी है, and therefore we have this minerals here. On other hand, youngest landform कौन सा है world का, जहाँ पे आज हम खड़े हैं? This is the Great Plains of India, alluvial plains of India, and this is youngest, and it is also eroded. Though it is youngest, it is also eroded. So eroded है मतलब क्या ना, say this is not of metallic minerals, यहाँ पे metallic minerals नहीं मिलेंगे. So that is why, but soft है soil यहाँ की, because the soil is soft. Can I say, because the soil is soft, if this is two kinds of soil, one is the hard rock surface, on other hand we have a soft soil. Rain water, when it falls down, where it can go? It can go below the hard rock or it can go below the soft soil. It can go below the soft soil and collect as a groundwater, right? Human beings can plow the soft soil. Rocks को plow करना ज़्यादा impossible है, but they can plow the soft soil. And therefore, in the Great Plains of India, agriculture is the most important occupation. In the Great Plains of India, we have the highest level of groundwater. Because it is a groundwater, well and tube well irrigation dominates. Because यहाँ पे rivers है, तो canal irrigation dominates. दोनों canal irrigation and well and tube well irrigation is not there in the peninsular plateau. Because why it is not in the peninsular plateau? Because it is made up of hard rocks. ये है geography. Apply this to sociology. All subjects are linked because it is agriculturally dominant. यहाँ पे social structure is seen in such a way. Agriculture के लिए males are preferred या females are preferred? Males are preferred. So आज भी in this society male population is given precedence over the female population. आज भी in this society what we see is the cases of female feticide is more. एग्रीकल्चर के लिए क्या ना, इससे पॉपुलेशन ज़्यादा होना चाहिए या पॉपुलेशन बहुत होना चाहिए? देयर शुड बी, सॉरी, द पॉपुलेशन शुड बी लेस और पॉपुलेशन शुड बी मोर फॉर एग्रीकल्चर. मोर, बिकॉज इफ द पॉपुलेशन इज मोर, लेबर इज इजीली अवेलेबल, चीपली अवेलेबल. अगर पॉपुलेशन कम है तो लेबर विल डिमांड हाई प्राइस. सो इन दिस रीजन्स the labor is very, that is population, these are densely populated regions of the world, one of the most densely populated regions of the world. Apply this to geography again, densely populated regions of the world. Because it is densely populated regions of the world, यहाँ पे railway and roadway infrastructure is most well developed. The largest density of Indian railways is in the Great Plains of India. Getting it? But because it is a soft soil, यहाँ पे mineral industries नहीं है, except for agriculture processing industries. And therefore, kal wala, Jindal Steel wala example, or petroleum refineries wala example, which government does for bringing out the balanced regional development. So this is where we ended the yesterday's lecture. That is, you have to develop interlinking skills between the different subjects. Which is the most populous country in the world? China. China के बाद India. India में which is the most populous state? उत्तर प्रदेश. उत्तर प्रदेश के बाद महाराष्ट्र. Which is the most state having highest density? Bihar. Bihar के बाद West Bengal. So UP, West Bengal, Bihar, etc. Now Brazil बड़ा है या India बड़ा है in size? Brazil. Brazil is the fifth largest country in the world, and Brazil is also the fifth most populated country in the world. हम ये सब बाद में करेंगे, बट ये पॉपुलेशन वाला मैंने आपको बताया एग्रीकल्चर, ये एग्जांपल से आप कभी नहीं भूलोगे, बट यूपी का पॉपुलेशन इज ग्रेटर दैन ब्राज़ील का पॉपुलेशन. सो रिमेंबर दिस, यूपी का पॉपुलेशन अलोन इज ग्रेटर दैन ब्राज़ील का पॉपुलेशन, एंड ब्राज़ील इज द फिफ्थ मोस्ट पॉपुलेटेड कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड. सो महाराष्ट्र का पॉपुलेशन इज ग्रेटर दैन अर्जेंटीना का पॉपुलेशन. बिहार का पॉपुलेशन इज ग्रेटर दैन अर्जेंटीना का पॉपुलेशन. अर्जेंटीना इज द 10th मोस्ट पॉपुलस कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड. टेक आउट दिस 3 states, यूपी, बिहार एंड महाराष्ट्र. द मोस्ट पॉपुलस कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड विल बी चाइना. सेकेंड मोस्ट पॉपुलस कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड विल बी ये 3 स्टेट से बनी हुई कंट्री, एंड थर्ड मोस्ट पॉपुलस कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड विल बी इंडिया. देन सो that is why resources are limited. That is why there is a fight for resources, and that is why you are aspiring to become IAS. Engineers भी होंगे, doctors भी होंगे इस क्लास में. Resources are limited, jobs are limited, seats are limited, everything is limited. So with this we'll continue with our some basic map work. Have you got the atlas? So this mountains, Rockies, this mountain, Andes, this mountain, Atlas, these mountains are known as Alps. Then we have the Himalayas. Himalayas के ऊपर we have Trans-Himalayas, and we have the Ural mountains which divide the Asia from Europe. We have the Ural mountains which divide the Asia from Europe. So these are example of the some of the important mountains. The other important mountains is Appalachia. Then if we look at the continents in the world, North America, South America, उसके बाद Africa, उसके बाद Europe, Asia. Now Asia, which is the largest continent in the world, can I say this Asia is divided into two parts, many parts? That is, so can I say this part of Asia is what? ये जो Russian part of Asia is known as what? It is known as Siberia. So Siberian plateau will come many times. You should know what is Siberia. उसके बाद साइबेरिया के नीचे जो आता है एशिया, व्हाट इज दैट एशिया? ईस्ट एशिया, वेस्ट एशिया, मिडल ईस्ट, क्या है ये? इट इज सेंट्रल एशिया. कजाकिस्तान, उज्बेकिस्तान, तुर्कमेनिस्तान, मंगोलिया, दिस इज व्हाट इज नोन एज एन सेंट्रल एशिया. सेंट्रल एशियन कंट्रीज जब भी आएगा तो यू शुड रिमेंबर व्हाट आर दिस सेंट्रल एशियन कंट्रीज. चाइना के ऊपर की कंट्रीज आर नोन एज सेंट्रल एशियन कंट्रीज. We'll look at these countries later on. Then Central Asia के नीचे ये जो है part, what is this part known as? This is known as South Asia. And South Asia has which countries? India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Pakistan. Yes, Pakistan, Afghanistan. सार्क के हिसाब से यस, बट ट्रेडिशनली नो. सार्क के हिसाब से यस, बट ट्रेडिशनली नो. देन क्या ना से म्यांमार, नो. साउथ एशिया में नहीं आता म्यांमार, बिकॉज म्यांमार से शुरू होता है. दिस इज म्यांमार, थाईलैंड, लाओस, कंबोडिया, वियतनाम. आई एम शेडिंग दिस कंट्रीज. इंडोनेशिया, मलेशिया, ब्रुनई, सिंगापुर. All these countries is what is known as an Southeast Asia. It is known as an Southeast Asia. While यहाँ से जो country शुरू होती है and it ends here, and this country along with the Korea वाला region is what is known as an East Asia. So East Asia consists of China, Japan and Korean Peninsula. That is the North and the South Korea. China, Japan and Korea. This is what is the East Asia. So you be very clear. Siberia इतना geography में इतना नहीं आएगा. Siberia world में भी इतना, you will not come to Siberia many times. But Central Asian countries. Central Asia मतलब क्या? Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, etc. Then East Asia मतलब क्या? Which is to the east of India. Southeast Asia मतलब क्या? Which is to the southeastern part of India. Look-East policy, Act-East policy. That is the Southeast Asian countries. And Southeast Asia में there are 10 countries जो आप बाद में करोगे as an ASEAN members. Then South Asia, which consists of Pakistan till Sri Lanka and even Maldives. Maldives is a small island which is present here in Indian Ocean. And then from the west of Pakistan, that is ये है Iran. This is the Kuwait, Iraq, this is Kuwait, this is Saudi, this is Yemen, this is Oman, what is known as an West Asia or Middle East or Gulf nations. They are known as an Gulf nations. These are known as an Gulf countries or the Gulf nations. Fine with this? Then when we come to this part, it is Europe. When we go to Europe, before we go to Europe, you can see there are some of the depressions which I am shading now with blue color because they are water bodies. So this water body is what is known as, it is known as an Mediterranean Sea. We will be coming to this water body many times. बहुत important है this water body even for the mains as well as preliminary examination. So this water body which is found is known as an Mediterranean Sea. हमेशा क्वेश्चन आता है इन द प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन द कंट्री सराउंडिंग द मेडिटेरेनियन सी. Just above this Mediterranean Sea is a water body which is known as an Black Sea. Is it visible behind? It is known as an Black Sea. Just above the Mediterranean Sea, we have a water body, what is Black Sea. And surrounding this water body is the Caspian Sea. Is the Caspian Sea. So when you note down, Caspian Sea is the world's largest lake. Caspian Sea is the world's largest lake. Caspian Sea is the world's largest lake. It is the world's largest lake. Then when we come to this region, this sea is known as the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico.
Caspian Sea is the largest lake in terms of volume or area?
In the terms of volume as well as area. Largest lake in the world. No. I just said lake. Freshwater lake will go to superior in the terms of the area, and if it consider in the terms of volume, it will be Baikal. Freshwater and brackish water.
Baikal Lake is Russia's deepest.
It is also deepest lake in the world. क्या हुआ? Lake Baikal is deepest as well as the largest freshwater lake in the world by volume of water. Lake Superior is the largest freshwater lake in the world by size, that is by area. But ये सारे freshwater lakes है. If you lakes can be freshwater, it can be brackish water, it can be saline water also. So the largest lake in the world is the Caspian Sea. इतना बड़ा है कि it is known as sea, not as a lake. Fine. This part of world is what is known as an Gulf of Mexico, and this sea is what is known as an Gulf of California. Not that important, Gulf of California. I told you yesterday that this part is what is known as an Caribbean islands, and or they are known by the different names, that is Greater and Lesser Antilles. Greater and the Lesser Antilles. They are known by. So Caribbean islands are a part of the Greater and the Lesser Antilles. Antilles ये ग्रुप ऑफ आइलैंड्स है जो बड़े हैं साइज में लाइक क्यूबा, ग्रेटर एंटिलीज, जो छोटे हैं साइज में लाइक वेस्ट इंडीज का मेनी ऑफ द कंट्रीज दे आर नोन एज एन ग्रेटर एंटिलीज. एंड व्हाट इज द ज्योग्राफिकल वर्ड फॉर दिस? दिस आर नोन एज आइलैंड आर्क्स और दे आर नोन एज फेस्टूल्स. कोई भी आइलैंड विच इज कर्व्ड इन शेप एंड इज फाउंड इन द ग्रुप्स, दे आर नोन एज आइलैंड आर्क्स एंड फेस्टून्स. So island arc and festoons, can I say there is another island and arc and festoon, and that is Indonesia wala region? Can I say the third island arc and festoon is Japan wala region? Group of island which are curved in shape. Can I say one island arc and festoons is Andaman and Nicobar Islands? Fine with this? So जब भी आगे के लेक्चर्स में आइलैंड आर्क एंड फेस्टून्स आएगा, यू शुड रिमेंबर ग्रेटर एंटिलीज, लेसर एंटिलीज, साउथ ईस्ट एशियन नेशंस एंड द जापानीज आइलैंड आर्कीपियालागो. दैट इज ये सारे वर्ड्स याद करने पड़ेंगे. आर्कीपियालागो मीन्स ग्रुप ऑफ आइलैंड्स विच आर फाउंड हियर. नाउ बिफोर आई गो फर्दर, दिस पार्ट ऑफ वाटर इज व्हाट इज नोन एज रेड सी. And this part of water is what is known as an Persian Gulf. ये बार बार रिवाइज करते रहना पड़ेगा. This regions and will be coming again to this regions. This part of water is known as Persian Gulf. इसलिए these nations are known as what? Gulf countries. That is surrounding which part? That is surrounding the Persian Gulf wala region. Fine with this? Now I am asking you one basic general knowledge ka question. Tell me the name of a country that is common to Europe and Asia. Russia. Turkey. Russia है या नहीं? Russia है and दूसरा is Turkey. So this part of Europe, this is how big Russia is. It starts from here and ends right up to the end of Asia. It will start from this region. Russia starts from here and then it goes all along the Urals, Central Asia, and it ends at this point. This is the Russia. So Russia is common to both Europe and Asia, but the other country which is common to both Europe and Asia is Turkey. So note down this thing, that is the Turkey. Turkey and Russia, Turkey and Russia are both Asian as well as European nations. Turkey and Russia are both Asian as well as European nations. Asian as well as European nations. So Turkey kahan hai? Any idea? This part of world is known as Turkey. So can I rub this Black Sea wala region? So this part of Asia, ये Asia है. This is Africa, this is Asia, this is Turkey, and this is Turkey. So now before I go to Turkey, tell me what is the capital of Turkey? Which is the capital of Turkey? Ankara. Ankara is the capital of Turkey. And which is the biggest city of Turkey? Istanbul. Ankara is in Asia. Ankara यहाँ पे है कहीं तो, is in Asia. And Istanbul is in Europe. So some part of Turkey is in Asia, some part of Turkey is in Europe. So therefore Turkey is known as sick man of Europe. Why sick man of Europe? Because Europe means developed nations, higher GDP, different law set, different standards, and Asia means poor nations, developing countries. And kuch part Turkey ka Asia, most of the part of Turkey is Asia, but some of the Turkey is in Europe. Therefore, Turkey को कहा जाता है यूरोप का बीमार आदमी, that is sick man of Europe. So this is what you should remember, that Turkey is known as a sick man of Europe. And the next point in Turkey is that the Black Sea separates Asian Turkey from the European Turkey. Black Sea separates Asian Turkey from the European Turkey. Asian Turkey from European Turkey. Now coming to some of the important points regarding North America. So when we look at the North America, this North America is divided into USA and Canada. And again USA. USA, why? Because this Alaska is a part of USA. Now tell me, if you want to go from Japan to USA, आप कैसे जाओगे? You will go through. So you will go through this part, because even this is USA, Alaska, or this is Russia, this part, because you should remember that Earth is a circle. Now this part of USA, I am just छोटा कर रहा हूँ USA को, this part of USA and this part of Russia is separated by a water body, and we are coming to the first geographical definition, what we will call them as straits. So strait, take a technical definition of straits. The strait is a small water body or narrow water body. A strait is a narrow water body which connects two larger water bodies, ये है टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन ऑफ अ स्ट्रेट विच कनेक्ट्स टू लार्जर वाटर बॉडीज. क्या मतलब है इसका? इफ दिस एरिया इज अ स्ट्रेट नैरो वाटर बॉडी, ये सब पानी है, दिस इज अ लैंड मास एंड दिस इज अ लैंड मास, सो दिस इज वाटर, दिस इज पैसिफिक ओशन एंड ऊपर है आर्कटिक ओशन. तो दैट इज द टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन ऑफ अ स्ट्रेट. कभी नहीं पूछेंगे टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन ऑफ अ स्ट्रेट. इफ यू लुक एट द हिस्ट्री ऑफ यूपीएससी का क्वेश्चंस, उन्होंने स्ट्रेट पूछा है, इट सेपरेट्स विच टू लैंड मासेस. They would not ask you it connects which two water bodies, because अगर यहाँ पे ये narrow water body है, इसका मतलब it is surrounded by two land masses. So the important straits in the world are, Bering Strait. Important straits in the world are Bering Strait. So separates which two continents, you tell me? Asia and North America. Or separates which two countries? Russia and USA. So note down, separates Asia from North America or Russia from USA. In fact, if you, I tell you an interesting thing, कि ये part जो Alaska है, that was an earlier a part of Russia. Russia thought it is an useless part, so sold it to USA only for $50,000. क्योंकि उसको लगा कुछ काम का नहीं. But USA knew that it is rich in resources, and USA gladly accepted, because Alaska has one of the largest deposits of gold and petroleum.
Largest airbase is also in USA is the largest airbase is also in
Airbase means?
airbase.
Airbase. No, I am talking about geographical deposits. वो तो airbase वो बनाएंगे ही, because they want to take over the Asia. I am talking about the natural resources. Alaska is so rich in gold that if you go as a tourist in Alaska on the Yukon River, you literally find gold flowing in the river and you can take it home. So that is what is the Alaska ka gold deposits. And it is said that Alaska has the largest petroleum deposits before, even greater than, अभी तक ये proved नहीं है, even greater than Gulf nations. So USA की strategy है कि पहले वहाँ का पेट्रोल खत्म करो and then bring out this petrol. So this is what is Alaska. But you remember, as of now, only Bering Strait. North America, and ये कौन सा island है? This is Greenland. Can I say Greenland is a part of which country? Greenland is a part of Denmark. Greenland is a part of Denmark. General knowledge, but we are doing the straits. So the second strait which we are going to do is Davis Strait. Davis Strait separates USA from Europe. Can I say? Separates USA from, or separates North America from Europe. Is it right? Yes. It separates North America from Europe. Or can I say separates North America from Denmark और ग्रीनलैंड. अब डेविस स्ट्रेट भी हम वी आर डूइंग दो स्ट्रेट्स जो हम बार बार पढ़ेंगे. वाई? बिकॉज व्हेन विल डू ओशन पार्ट्स, यहाँ पे हम एक ओशन करंट करेंगे नोन एज एन लैब्राडोर करंट, एंड वहाँ पे विल कम टू द रेफरेंस ऑफ एन डेविस स्ट्रेट. सो दिस आर द एरियाज विच आर इंपॉर्टेंट ज्योग्राफिकली. उसके बाद यहाँ का स्ट्रेट इज नोन एज एन डेनमार्क स्ट्रेट, नॉट दैट इंपॉर्टेंट, सो आई एम स्किपिंग दिस, बट दिस इज अ डेविस स्ट्रेट वाला रीजन. Which is this country? UK, England, Great Britain. तीनों राइट है या तीनों अलग अलग है? तीनों अलग अलग है. There is a difference between United Kingdoms, between England and Great Britain. That is your assignment, home assignment. Find out what is the difference between, ये general knowledge है, this is the things you should know. What is the difference between England, UK and Great Britain? Then this country here is known as an France. And between England and France, or between Great Britain and France, the sea is known as an English Channel. So just remember that English Channel separates Great Britain from France. English Channel separates Great Britain from France. Then you come to mainland Europe, जहाँ पे the countries are, यहाँ पे पोर्चुगल, स्पेन, फ्रांस, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, एंड यहाँ पे we have one of the famous straits in the world, and this famous strait in the world is known as the Strait of Gibraltar. The Strait of Gibraltar. This Strait of Gibraltar separates Africa from Europe. The Strait of Gibraltar separates Africa from Europe. The Strait of Gibraltar separates Africa from Europe. And now open the map of Europe in your atlas. टेरिटरीज थी पुरानी, टेरिटरीज थी वो पुरानी, दी नहीं है. पेज नंबर 76. And when we look at the page number 76 of this part, look at the political map. हमेशा दो maps एक साथ देखने होते हैं. One is the political map, you will understand the countries, continents, and the physical map जहाँ पे you will understand the physical features. Now how to study this atlas? कोई भी atlas green part मतलब it is more or less a plain region nearer to the sea level. अगर yellowish है that means it is an plateau at a greater height. If it is still at a greater height, it will become brown in color. And if it is at a greatest height, it will still become dark brown, or sometimes even it will become whitish in color. Getting this? So with this, come here and you can see easily what is the Black Sea wala region. Black Sea wala region. So if you look in the political map of an Black Sea, तो नीचे का part is black and white, ऊपर का part is color. What does it mean? It separates, नीचे का part is Europe and ऊपर का नीचे का part is Asia and ऊपर का part is the Europe. Now look in this part in the political map, again you will find a small city at the tip of Black Sea, and that is Istanbul. मिला Istanbul? And उसके other part में there is an Turkey. Turkey का half part is here colorful में, half part is in black and white. उसके लिए हमें एशिया का मैप खोलना पड़ेगा, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं. I want you to remember one of the most important strait which separates Turkey, or in other words which separates Asia from Europe, or thoda you go to the same portion in the physical map and you will see something known as a Strait of Bosphorus. The Strait of Bosphorus. The Strait of Bosphorus separates European Turkey from Asian Turkey. Separates European Turkey from the Asian Turkey. Separates European Turkey from the Asian Turkey. See, Black Sea को फिर बाद में हम डिटेल में करेंगे. You will see there is a Sea of Marmara, छोटा वाला एरिया. There is a Strait of Kerch. There is an Sea of Azov. मिला all this, और ये सब याद रखना है GS में, कौन सी रिवर कहाँ पे ड्रेन एक्सेट्रा होती है. So we'll do that as per the class progresses. So remember right now the Strait of Bosphorus. Now look in the same physical map. Now from the Black Sea अगर आपको Caspian Sea में जाना है, so which mountains you are crossing? You are crossing the Caucasus Mountains. And what is the highest point of an Caucasus Mountains? वहाँ पे दिया है highest point, Mount Elbrus. So highest point of Asia or India, can I say, are in Himalayas? Yes. The highest point of Europe, the highest point of North America, you will see that it is in the Rockies. The highest point of South America, you will see it is in the Andes. But highest point of Europe is not in the Alps. It is in the Caucasus Mountains, and that is known as Mount Elbrus. Mount Elbrus is the highest peak of Europe in the Caucasus Mountains. Mount Elbrus is the highest peak of Europe in the Caucasus Mountains. In the Caucasus Mountains. Now you open the map of Asia. पीछे जाना, Asia is always after India. It's page number 66 or 67. This is Asia. Now when you look in the Oxford, जो मेरा red color का atlas है, which I specifically say, is Oxford Student Atlas. You get this year's question का answer. Aral Sea over the period has shrunk. That is why I ask you to buy this atlas. क्या था question? Which sea in the recent, or which water body in the recent times has shrunk over the period of time due to human things. So यहाँ पे दिया ही है फोटो अराल सी का, ओरिजिनल अराल सी, and now it has shrunk immensely. बैकाल का दिया है फोटो? नहीं दिया है, सिर्फ अराल सी का दिया है. So the answer is अराल सी. चाहे आंसर की कहता है बैकाल, the answer is UPSC का जब एक साल बाद आंसर की will come, you will see the answer is अराल सी. That is why you see in prelims, somebody with 103 says he has not cleared, and somebody with 98 says he has cleared, because your answer key should match with the UPSC ka answer key, not any class ka answer key. So this is the answer, and that is why this atlas is so good, because photographic memory yaad reh jata. I guess the same atlas is there. वो ये भी ऑक्सफोर्ड का ही है. Where is the photo? ये तो सिर्फ एक एग्जाम्पल है, आगे जाके बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल है. पनामा कनाल का फोटो एक्सेट्रा, दैट इज जहाँ से क्वेश्चंस आर कंटिन्यूसली कमिंग. एंड व्हाई दिस क्वेश्चन केम? दिस क्वेश्चन केम बिकॉज अराल सी इज श्रंक, हैज श्रंक ड्यू टू इंटरलिंकिंग ऑफ रिवर्स, एंड वी आर प्लानिंग रिसेंट ईयर्स इंटरलिंकिंग ऑफ द रिवर्स. So that is one negative of interlinking of the rivers. The Aral Sea has reduced by 75% of its original size. Now when we see the map of Asia, सबसे पहले this is Africa and this is Asia. Can you tell me the name of this strait which is very famous? This is the Strait of Bab al Mandab. Why it is always in the news? Because of piracy. Somalian pirates, Djibouti piracy. It's always in the news because of piracy. The Strait of Bab al Mandab is in the news because of piracy, and piracy is done by these countries which are lying here. And see the shape of Africa here. It is this way in shape, and therefore this part of Africa is known as Horn of Africa. Sea piracy in the Horn of Africa. So can I say the Strait of Bab al Mandab separates Africa from Asia? The Strait of Bab al Mandab separates Africa from Asia. Then the other important strait which we should know is the strait here, which is known as the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz. Mila, surrounding the Persian Gulf region. अब देखो how applied questions can come. The applied questions will come in such a way. A ship passing through a Suez Canal will enter Indian Ocean through which strait? Strait of Hormuz या Strait of Bab al Mandab? कहाँ पे है Suez Canal? यहाँ पे है या यहाँ पे in the middle? This is here. So the ship which passes through the Suez Canal will enter Indian Ocean through the Strait of Bab al Mandab. The ship which is carrying oil from the producing regions or the oil rich regions is likely to enter Indian Ocean from which strait? The Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz. Getting it? सिर्फ ये नहीं कि factual questions आएंगे, there will be applied questions also from this part. They will check your knowledge about the international sea route. I'll come to the international sea route later on. Now then we come to India. India में जो state है सबसे important is the which state here? That is the Pak Strait. Pak Strait. Pak Strait. Then after that we have a very important strait here, that is the Strait of Malacca. Very important because it is the most busiest strait in the world. It is one of the most important sea route, ocean route in the world, and it separates two countries. ये country कौन सी है यहाँ पे? Singapore, and this is Indonesia. Separates Singapore from Indonesia. And Indonesia consists of numerous islands. So एक है जकार्ता, दूसरा है जावा, तीसरा है बाली, and the fourth island जो परसों के न्यूज़ में है, जहाँ पे अर्थक्वेक हुआ है. Just besides Bali, you will find an island known as Lombok Island, and it is in the news because of a strong earthquake in that region, Lombok Island. So कुछ traditional parts तो याद रखनी ही है, हम अभी traditional कर रहे हैं, and something which is in the news, at least you should have an idea. So बहुत बार अगर न्यूज़ में आता है some of the areas, यूपीएससी के favorite areas है which we are doing. यूपीएससी ऐसा नहीं कि कहीं से भी मैप क्वेश्चन उठाता है. It will ask in two conditions. एक तो favorite है which I am doing because they have some geographical importance. या सेकंड है विच इज कंसिस्टेंटली इन द न्यूज. सो लॉम्बोक आइलैंड इज वन इंपॉर्टेंट आइलैंड ऑफ इंडोनेशिया. मिला लॉम्बोक आइलैंड, LOMBOK, लॉम्बोक आइलैंड. There is one more strait here, and this strait is known as Sunda Strait. It separates Jakarta from Java. Sorry, it separates Sumatra from Java. Jakarta is the capital of Indonesia. It separates Sumatra from Java. ये हो गए important straits. So just see how to remember the important straits. Make a story something like this. Yeah, you start from Russia. आपको USA जाना है तो इसे you'll cross Bering Strait. उसके बाद आपके पास दो choices है. अगर साउथ अमेरिका जाना है, क्यूबा में जाना है और फेडिल कैस्ट्रो से मिलना है तो you'll cross. वो स्ट्रेट हमने किया नहीं है. We'll do that strait over the period of time. So you drop the plan of meeting Fidel Castro, you go to Greenland, and therefore you will cross which strait? Is the Davis Strait. After that you come to Great Britain, and from Great Britain you will swim like Savarkar through which channel? Through English Channel. And after coming to the France and Spain, you will then go to Africa through which strait? Through the Strait of Gibraltar. Then you see the Africa and you have a choice of going to Asia, and you will cross the Strait of Bab el Mandeb. If you survive the sea piracy in that region, you may reach the Gulf nations through the Strait of Hormuz. Then you will come to India and visit the Ram Setu or Setu Samudram at the Strait of Park Strait. Then you will cross that and go to Singapore through the Strait of Malacca. सुंडा स्ट्रेट वैसे ही जोग्राफिकली इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है कि वो भूलोगे नहीं. बट यू डिसाइड कि आप डर गए सी पायरेसी से, सो यू डिसाइड टू गो ओनली टू यूरोप बैक थ्रू एशिया एंड यू विल क्रॉस द स्ट्रेट ऑफ बॉस्फोरस. गॉट दिस? Exactly opposite of straits are isthmus. What is isthmus? It is a narrow. What is a strait? Strait is a narrow water body. So exactly opposite matlab it will be narrow land which will separate two water bodies, or which will connect two larger land masses. It is connecting two larger land masses, but it is separating two water bodies. Example, Setu Samudram, Ram Setu, the Adams Bridge, that can be called as an isthmus. Why? Because it is separating the Indian Ocean ka Park Strait from the Gulf of Mannar, narrow land body. But one of the best isthmus in the world is this region, separates Indian Ocean from Pacific Ocean, and this is Isthmus of Kra. This is the Isthmus of Kra. That is the Isthmus of Kra. Now the other isthmus which you should remember is, before I go, tell me, major trade in the world is through roadways, railways, या sea routes? Sea routes. And if we say the developed countries of the world, can I say these two are the developed nations of the world? Developed regions, USA and Northwestern Europe. Even in USA, there are two regions which are very highly developed. One is the New England region of USA. इस region of USA को हम कहेंगे over the period of time New England region. New England मतलब England में नहीं है. New England is in USA. Why New England? Because इतना ज़्यादा population increased in England region that the people migrated and they came to USA and they called it as a New England region. And the other is this region here. And this region is what is known as an California region, which is nowadays very famous for Silicon Valley, San Francisco wala region. It is this region. So if a ship which comes from either from Japan or from this region has to go to New York, Washington, Pittsburgh, Detroit, ये सारे industrial centers है, from Japan or from Russia, so कैसे जाएगी ship? Will it cross this entire region or will it go through this region? अगर वो ऐसी जाएगी तो नीचे 60 degrees के बाद समंदर is cold, it is mostly frozen. Arctic Ocean is also frozen. So why I am telling this? Because isthmus, how we used, human beings have modified, because isthmus are so narrow that we can cut through the isthmus and make canals, and the example is Panama Canal. Is the Panama Canal. So remember, isthmus ka importance is they can be used for making canals. Example is Panama Canal. They can be used for making canals. Example is the Panama Canal. Now open the map of North America. Page number 82. Page number 82. Map of North America, which consists of USA, Canada and Mexico. And then these are the Central American countries. This part of the world is known as Central America. After 82, go back 2 pages. You will find the map of USA. North America and USA ka map is very different. USA is a country. Go to page number 86. Back matlab aage. So that is, in this you will find the 86. And exactly opposite you will find this region which I am talking about, Greater and Lesser Antilles. That is the Central American countries. And in the Central American countries you will easily find that is how the Panama Canal is there. Central American countries. And you see, just abhi atlas mein hi mark kar lena the islands which are known as Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles. Mila the words Greater and Lesser Antilles? You will find Greater and Lesser Antilles there. And other than that, the very important part is what separates the two enemies, totally different economic system, USA capitalism, Cuba socialism. So which state separates Cuba from USA? That is what you should remember. The state of Florida separates USA from Cuba. So note it down somewhere, that is the state of Florida separates USA from Cuba. Keep the same map open. In the Central American countries, you will see there are numerous countries here. Look at the political map. You will find there are numerous countries in this region. That is Mexico. Mexico ke baad you will find Belize, you will find Honduras, you will find Nicaragua, uske baad you will find Costa Rica, and then you will find Panama. So you can see कितना narrow है Panama के पास, and therefore we have made such a big canal जहाँ से the large ships can pass, what is known as an Panama Canal. अब write their current affairs, 2 things in current affairs, somewhere in your notebook, somewhere in the notebook. There are 2 things which you should remember, and current affairs मतलब पिछले 1 साल की न्यूज़, ऐसे नहीं है कि आज की या कल की न्यूज़. For you, current affairs means at least 1 to 1.5 year का news. Now, the first current affairs is Panama Canal is, don't write anything, I will tell you what to note down. Panama Canal is facing too much of congestion due to large cargo traffic, and hence there is an proposed alternative to the Panama Canal through, you will see in the atlas, एक ही जगह है proposed alternative जहाँ पे एक बहुत बड़ा lake दिखेगा blue in color. So can I say through Nicaragua lake? मिला Nicaragua? So then alternative to Panama Canal is proposed. An alternative to Panama Canal is proposed. An alternative, note down this, an alternative to the Panama Canal is proposed by cutting a channel through Lake Nicaragua. By cutting a channel through Lake Nicaragua. Through Lake Nicaragua. Through Lake Nicaragua. Through Lake Nicaragua. मिला Lake Nicaragua? So it will reduce the distance. दो बार ये या एक बार ये prelims में आ चुका है already, because this area is in the news from last 10 to 15 years. They are trying to make a canal, but Panama नहीं चाहते कि canal बने, and Panama is a friend of USA, so USA does not support Nicaragua to make a canal. Why? Because you should know, just like you pay toll tax after passing through toll, these ships pay large amount of tonnage tax, and thus the countries have income. They get income. Example is Singapore gets income. Example is Panama City gets an income. And Nicaragua is not that rich कि वो खुद का एक canal बनाए. So again क्यों फिर से ये news में है? Because China ने कहा कि we will support you, Nicaragua, and China is now investing and constructing a canal in spite of USA opposing it. You can use it anywhere, this bit of information. In US-China relationship, hegemony, world order. The second such canal, second such isthmus which is proposed is here, cutting through isthmus of Kra. To reduce the pressure on which strait? To reduce the pressure on the Strait of Malacca. To reduce the pressure on Strait of Malacca. To reduce the pressure on the Strait of Malacca. Fine with this? So there is a second proposal. इससे distance भी कम हो जाएगा to between these countries, and Malacca Strait से भी the pressure will be reduced. The last part regarding the world map is there are some of the major rivers which we should know. And जब हम rivers की बात करते हैं, give me 1 minute. See, there are some of the important rivers, and what is the name of this river of North America? See, this river of North America is, लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, but still be aware of this, that is this river is known as river Mississippi. This is known as a river Mississippi. Which is the largest river in the world? Nile. The largest river in the world is river Amazon, which runs parallel to the equator. Is the river Amazon. The largest river in the world is Amazon. Longest river in the world is Nile. Long length, large volume of water. Amazon. Amazon का रीजन देखा है आपने कभी? Have you watched any of the National Geographic Discovery पे dense forest वाला region? So remember that is what is known as Amazon. हम बार बार आएंगे what is known as a tropical evergreen forest biome. The most densely forested regions in the world. इतना densely forested कि human beings cannot stay in the Amazon rainforest. Tribes cannot stay in the Amazon rainforest. The sunlight does not reach the ground. You will find a largest snake, anaconda, in the Amazon rainforest region. So Amazon rainforest is the important, Amazon river is an important river, but not from the human geography point of view. Humans के लिए अगर आप जाके Amazon में रहोगे तो कोई ज़्यादा फायदा नहीं होगा, because river should support some kind of an economic activity, and therefore the most important river economically of South America is river Parana, or the most important river of South America is Parana, or river Rio de la Plata. Rio de Janeiro नहीं, Rio de Janeiro city है. Rio de la Plata is an river. So Rio de la Plata river system. देखो ये जो भी हमने आज मार्क किया है आपको घर पे जाके रिवाइज करना है. You have to look this in the atlas. This is how the atlas should be studied. Keep on revising it again and again. Map pointing ऐसे ही पढ़ना होता है. There is no other way of map pointing. एक तो लिख के पढ़ो, घर पे जाके बार बार रिवाइज करके, जिनको एटलास साफ सुथरा रखना है उनके लिए, जिनको कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता एटलास गंदा हो अच्छा हो, जिनको मार्क करना है एटलास, दैट इज़ द बेस्ट वे ऑफ स्टडिंग द एटलास. उधर ही मार्क करो, उधर ही लिखो. दैट विल हेल्प यू इमेंसली इन रिवाइजिंग 1 day बिफोर द प्रीलिम्स या 1 hour बिफोर गोइंग इनटू द एग्जाम हॉल. पूरा ज्योग्राफी वहाँ पे रहेगा. दैट इज़ दिस things, the small things, because ये factual data है, and the one way of doing the factual data is revising it again and again. South America, economically the most important river of South America. USA का Mississippi, Missouri. The longest river in the world is river Nile. The longest river in the world is the river Nile. There is another river in Africa which is known as river, which is even larger than Nile but not longer than Nile. Can I rub this part? Is river Congo or river Zaire. Is river Congo or river Zaire. घर पे जाके देखो क्या खासियत है रिवर जायर की और कॉन्गो की. एक किसी लाइन को 2 बार काटती है. इट क्रॉसेस द इक्वेटर ट्वाइस. घर पे जाके देखो नाइल कहाँ से ओरिजिनेट होती है? लेक विक्टोरिया. कौन सी नाइल? वाइट नाइल और ब्लू नाइल. 2 नाइल है, ब्लू नाइल एंड वाइट नाइल. जैसे 2 गंगा है, अलकनंदा एंड Bhagirathi. And then we come to Europe, which is the most important inland river system in the world. Now, there are two rivers in the map of Europe. These two rivers is, one river is known as, I am rubbing this parts. One river goes to the north and drains into the North Sea, and this river is known as River Rhone. And the other river is it originates here and then drains into the Mediterranean Sea, which is known as River Rhine. See, remember, this upper river is known as River Rhine, and the river which comes down is known as River Rhone. So this is River Rhine and Rhone. Now, why River Rhine is so important? Just open the map of Europe. And when we see the map of Europe, कहाँ पे देखना है आपको रिवर राइन, जहाँ पे कोपेनहेगन लिखा है. Amsterdam के just नीचे, not Copenhagen, you will find a region here that is River Rhine. Political map में नहीं मिलेगा, you will find that in the physical map. River Rhine is written. मिला? River Rhine. And look at the same areas in the political map. This is how we should be studying. So, what is the capital of Netherlands? Amsterdam. Amsterdam के नीचे you will find a city known as Rotterdam. मिला Rotterdam? Amsterdam के just नीचे. Everyone, I am again repeating here, this part you will have to see. यहाँ पे you will find Rotterdam. Look at the physical map, you will find River Rhine. Forget about River Rhine, अब देखो Rotterdam वाला region. That blue line is what? In the Rotterdam wala region, that blue line is River Rhine. River Rhine drains into which sea? Into the North Sea. हम फिर से River Rhine करेंगे because River Rhine is famous for Rift Valley. It is famous for Black Mountains. It is famous for Horst and Graben. Just like Narmada and Tapi is an example of an Rift Valley. Now understand here, once you have seen River Rhine, is, can I say this is one of the most developed parts of the world? And this is the second important developed part of the world. In fact, वैसे अगर countries different है, but वैसे देखा गया तो this will be the most developed parts. सिर्फ economy अगर हमने development नहीं देखी, if you look at the human development etc. at all the angles, this is the most developed part of the world, Northwest Europe. And Northwest Europe is the richest part of the world. Northwest Europe के ऊपर की countries, Scandinavian countries, हमेशा first in transparency index, in human development index, in XYZ index, in the liberty of freedom index, etc. Why? Because they have gone to a level in which they are thinking, their economic development, their social security is at least 100 years ahead of India. We can say this example I always give of the countries of Scandinavian countries. Do you have a basic idea of polity? In polity, there are certain rights which have been guaranteed to us by the constitution. एक है right to life, and right to life में है right to clean air, right to food, right to education has been taken as a right to life. In the Scandinavian countries in 2009, right to 2 Mbps internet speed was right to life. So you can understand the level of development. आज हम कह रहे हैं कि right to livelihood should be taken as a part of right to life or not. वहाँ पे 2 Mbps internet speed was right to life. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज गारंटेड कि मिनिमम आपको 2 MBPS तो इंटरनेट स्पीड मिलेगा, जो इंडिया का 2020 ब्रॉडबैंड पॉलिसी का एक गोल है. So you should remember that what is the level of development of these countries. And इसीलिए why I am telling you this, इसीलिए there is a trade which occurs between these two nations, right, between Europe and North America. And the सबसे बड़ा market कहाँ पे है, and the supplier of raw materials as well as this, it is Asia. Now you understand how a ship starts. यहाँ पे है न्यूयॉर्क, वॉशिंगटन, पिट्सबर्ग एक्सेट्रा. We'll do this cities later on. Pittsburgh is known as iron and steel capital of the world. यहाँ पे located है. The Cleveland is known as again the cement capital of the world. Detroit is known as automobile capital of the world. New York, Washington, Akron is known as a rubber capital of the world. So all these regions have the headquarters or the important, ये है हमारा distribution of natural resources, Q. This is what we talked about the syllabus yesterday. So then because of this, there is a continuous trade going on between Western Europe and this, the North America. And therefore, syllabus का दूसरा part जो prelims में भी आता है, infrastructure, which is the most busy sea route in the world. North Atlantic, North Indian Ocean, South Atlantic, South Pacific. कौन सा है the most busiest sea route in the world? So note it down. North Atlantic is the most busiest sea route in the world. North Atlantic is the most busiest and economically most important sea route in the world. Economically most important sea route in the world. And now keep on looking at the map of Europe, political map. Map भी खुला रखना और book भी खुला रखना, because we'll be noting down some of the things. So in the map of Europe, political map of Europe, a ship when crosses Europe, it enters mainland Europe through Rotterdam. क्यों? क्योंकि Rotterdam is located on river Rhine. So कोई भी ship जो बड़ी है, it enters Europe. And if you have seen any of the James Bond movies या कोई भी English movie या कोई भी यश चोपड़ा की movie गाने देखे होंगे आपने, तो you will see Europe में अगर shot है तो canals है developed. That is, Europe has very well developed canal system, inland navigation system. Rivers से they use for navigation. जो हम try कर रहे हैं in the national waterways का policy. National waterways 1, 2, 3. Why? Because river is the cheapest and the most efficient method of transportation. आपको infrastructure की ज़रूरत नहीं है, land acquisition की ज़रूरत नहीं है. You do not have to lay down and maintain it regularly. And जब ship goes downstream या कोई भी boat goes downstream in the direction of a river, तो fuel भी बचता है, because the current will carry it. Fuel सिर्फ लगेगा थोड़ा ज़्यादा when it comes upstream, but downstream it is. So therefore किसी भी country में if there is an inland water transport, rivers है तो inland water transport is very well developed. इसीलिए मैंने ये कहा this is the most important river. This is the most important river. मिसिसिपी को ही कॉपी करके हमने दामोदर वैली कॉर्पोरेशन बनाया. मिसिसिपी का ही एक प्रोजेक्ट हमने कॉपी किया and we made DVC. In fact, मिसिसिपी पे जिस कंपनी में this project was made, that company constructed Damodar Valley Corporation. And DVC has changed the economic destiny of the Chota Nagpur Plateau wala surrounding region. Light आई, बिजली आई, infrastructure developed, companies came, etc. all in this region. So when a ship enters Rotterdam, so therefore Rotterdam is the most busiest port of Europe. ये ज़्यादा important नहीं है. You should know Rotterdam is known as a gateway of Europe. 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 Rotterd Secondly, Rotterdam is located on river, which river? Rhine. Because UPSC जब भी ये ऑप्शन पूछता है रिफ्ट वैली कौन से रिवर पे है, रॉटरडैम किस पे है, या मिस्ट्राल या विंड किस रिवर में है, एक रोन में है एक राइन में, एंड दे ऑल्सो नो कि यू विल गेट कंफ्यूज. सो एक ऑप्शन रोन भी होता है, एक ऑप्शन राइन भी होता है. सो बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक, इट इज लोकेटेड ऑन रिवर राइन. नाउ लुक इन द मैप ऑफ यूरोप. Once you enter Rhine, that is Rotterdam, you then go to which country? That is the most industrialized nation of the world. It is the richest nation of the world. That is Germany. You go to Germany. And Germany की कौन सी cities? You will see the first city is Essen. Important cities का नाम ले रहा हूँ, Essen. मिला Essen? Don't write anything, हम बाद में लिखेंगे. Essen is famous for लोकोमोटिव इंडस्ट्री. एसन इज फेमस फॉर शिप बिल्डिंग इंडस्ट्री. आजकल हमारे हर इंजन पे लिखा है टर्बो इंजन एक्सेट्रा, बट द फर्स्ट टर्बो इंजन्स वेर मेड इन एसन. आफ्टर एसन वी गो टू अनदर सिटी विच इज नोन एज कलोन, एंड यू टेल मी व्हाट इज द इंडस्ट्री. नाम से ही पता लगता है, इट इज फेमस फॉर परफ्यूम इंडस्ट्री. आफ्टर दैट, ये सारी राइन पे है देखना. आफ्टर दैट यू गो टू अ सिटी नोन एज बॉन. इट इज फेमस फॉर cutlery industry. Bonn, China. Bonn, China. It is famous for cutlery industry. After that you go to Frankfurt. Frankfurt is an important city and the cultural capital of Germany. Not that important. But end May you go to the city known as Stuttgart. And Stuttgart is famous for which industry? Stuttgart is the headquarter of Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW. It is famous for automobile industry. जितने भी German cars है, Audi, इन सारा headquarter is located in Stuttgart. So Stuttgart is famous for automobile industry. फिर ठीक है, वो यहाँ पे गई, उससे हमें क्या फायदा है? Why we are doing this? After that, through the network of well-developed canals, a ship enters river Rhine, Rhone, down. And after entering river Rhone, look here, after entering river Rhone, it will enter the Mediterranean Sea. Then when it comes to the Mediterranean Sea, it will enter Suez Canal. When it enters Suez Canal, अगर important ship है तो obviously उसको लूटा जाएगा यहाँ पे, because it is coming with goods, and therefore piracy here. Piracy यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं? आप पेट्रोलियम लूट के रखोगे कहाँ पे? क्या करोगे? उसको तो मार्केट में बेच नहीं सकते, घर में रखोगे तो ब्लास्ट हो जाएगा. सो दिस इज द रीजन, दैट इज द सोमालियन सी पायरेसी विच ऑकर्स हियर. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि पायरेसी यहाँ पे क्यों हो रहा है. बट दिस इज इंडियन ओशन, एंड यस्टरडे आई टोल्ड यू हु इज द पुलिस हियर? इंडिया. दो अभी बहुत सारी कंट्रीज को बनना है, पर राइट नाउ हु इज द मेन कंट्री हियर जिसका नेवल पावर है? दैट इज इंडिया. एंड देयरफॉर इंडिया पेट्रोल्स दिस. बट अभी सबको आना है, सी पायरेसी ने उनको चांस दे दिया. सो यूएसए आल्सो पेट्रोल्स दिस रीजन, इटली आल्सो सेंड्स मरीन्स इन दिस रीजन. फिर आफ्टर दैट शिप विल एंटर द स्टेट ऑफ, अगर इंडिया में आना है तो अदर पार्ट्स, बट इट विल एंटर द स्टेट ऑफ मलक्का. एंड आफ्टर एंटरिंग द स्टेट ऑफ मलक्का टू दिस रीजन्स. इतना लंबा रूट क्यों? बिकॉज मार्केट इज बेस्ड इन दिस रूट. ऐसा नहीं कि शिप यूएसए से जो गुड लेके आई वो डायरेक्टली आके जापान में देगा. इट विल पिक अप गुड्स, कीप द गुड्स, पिक अप कार्गो, कीप द कार्गो, एंड दस एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस इट विल पास दिस रीजन. सो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट विच वी आर गोइंग टू राइट इज रिवर राइन एंड रोन. दोनों एक साथ लिखने हैं. रिवर राइन रोन is economically the most important inland waterway of the world. Is economically the most important inland waterway of the world. Economically the most important inland waterway of the world. Inland waterway of the world. Fine with this? Rhone नहीं मिलेगी. Rhone is in France. Rhone का माउथ मिलेगा जहाँ पे लिखा है गल्फ ऑफ लायंस नीचे. लुक इन द पॉलिटिकल मैप, दैट इज रिवर रोन, गल्फ ऑफ लायंस. So now you should understand why Mumbai is known as gateway of India, because सबसे ज़्यादा कार्गो कौन से पोर्ट पे आता है? JNPT and Mumbai. So it is known as and Britishers used to come to India through afterwards through Mumbai. So it is known as gateway of India. फिर उसके बाद वो स्मारक वो सब बनाया, वो different बात है. So main is gate हो या ना हो, it is still the gateway of India. I have skipped Australia as such because Australia is very easy to remember. If you look in the Australia में जो mountain है, मत देखना अभी, it is known as Great Dividing Range. यहाँ पे एक mountain है, it is known as a Great Dividing Range. यहाँ से जो river है, it is known as Murray-Darling River System. And बाकी का Australia is desert. कौन सा डेजर्ट? ग्रेट ऑस्ट्रेलियन डेजर्ट. उसके बीच में एक डिप्रेशन है, उसको नाम दिया है ग्रेट बेसिन. सो ऑस्ट्रेलिया कंसिस्ट ऑफ ग्रेट ऑस्ट्रेलियन डेजर्ट, एक ग्रेट बेसिन, एंड देन मरे डार्लिंग रिवर सिस्टम एंड द ग्रेट डिवाइडिंग रेंज. दैट मीन्स अगर कल एग्जामिनेशन में कुछ भी आता है विद द वर्ड ग्रेट, इट इज इन Australia. This is what you remember. But now see the reality. Is the Great Australian Desert the biggest desert in the world? No. Sahara Desert is the biggest desert. देखो ये desert and see the size of the Sahara Desert. यहाँ से start होके this entire. Is the Great Dividing Range the biggest range in the world? No. Highest भी नहीं है, longest भी नहीं है, और divide भी नहीं कर रही है किसी. It is located at the coast. Is the Great Basin as big as the Great Plains of India? No. So the reason is because what was Australia? Australia was the place for the most hardened criminals from Britain were sent to Australia, जिसको हम हिंदी में आज भी कहते हैं तड़ी पार. So the most hardened criminals were sent to Australia. Suddenly they discovered gold in Australia. आज भी Australia is one of the largest exporters of gold in the world. Australia is the largest exporter of coal in the world. Australia is the largest exporter of iron ore in the world. So they discovered gold minerals इसलिए, and as a result people from Great Britain started migrating in Australia. When they migrated in Australia, they came from such a small country कि उनको लगा ये बहुत बड़ा है, and इसीलिए ग्रेट डेजर्ट, जो डेजर्ट देखा ग्रेट डेजर्ट. फिर उसके जो नाम है सब टाइप्स बहुत आसान है रिमेंबर याद रखने के लिए. विक्टोरिया डेजर्ट, गिब्सन डेजर्ट, थॉमसन डेजर्ट, इंग्लिश नेम्स है सारे. जो माउंटेन देखा ग्रेट डिवाइडिंग रेंज. जो नदी देखी मरे रिवर, एक मरे रिवर है यहाँ पे, जो उसकी इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रिब्यूटरी है डार्लिंग. सो दे गिव वेरी सिंपल नेम्स टू दिस एंड देयरफॉर we'll skip Australia as of now. So any doubts abhi tak? Fine with this? I am not doing the rivers of India, neither the rivers of Asia as of now. Asia की rivers हमें करनी नहीं है, और इंडिया में हमें कम से कम 30 से 35 rivers करनी है in Indian geography with the tributaries etc. सारी की सारी नहीं करनी है, 3000 की 3000 नहीं करनी है, हमें सिर्फ 30 से 35 रिवर करनी है. Now you understand one simple thing, that before the Big Bang there was nothing. There was no concept of time, space, everything, because nothing was there before the Big Bang. When the Big Bang occurred, we don't know how the Big Bang occurred. There are numerous theories. एक theory ये कहता है कि there was small sized particle which exploded and kept on expanding. which kept exploded and kept on expanding, and this gave rise to different solar systems and galaxies. Our solar system is one part of that several solar systems, and it is a part of a galaxy which is known as an Milky Way galaxy. वैसे there are 10 raised to 12 galaxies, and in this 10 raised to 12 galaxies there are 10 raised to 12 solar systems. So हम अकेले नहीं हैं यूनिवर्स में. There may be a chance of life outside, there may not be a chance of life outside, but it is very sure that we are not alone in the world. It is just that ये सब is relative. For you, a shaking of the earth is a large scale earthquake. For us, the biggest mountain is Mount Everest. But in 3-4 lectures you will realize कि Mount Everest is just a fraction of the depth of the earth. Mount Everest is not the biggest feature on the surface of the earth. But अगर कोई नीचे चींटी है, for that चींटी if she can think, you may be some big animal, dinosaur. अगर उनमें भी examination होगा तो वो लिखते होंगे when did human beings, like dinosaurs came into being, and they are how they are destroying the world. Well, way we are going to study. So everything what you understand is relative. Now, what does the Big Bang say? Big Bang say because of explosion, the universe started expanding, and it is still expanding, and it has been proved that universe is still expanding, and we are in part of that universe. In this part of universe, we are a part of a very, very small planet, what is known as Earth, and this Earth is rotating with a great speed. It is revolving with a great speed, and also the particles on the earth are moving in different directions. They are sliding in different directions. So this earth originated due to Big Bang. Now when this earth originated due to Big Bang, obviously there was no life on the earth. Life came much later. Earth was first a rotating ball of fire. Understand this concept. ये conceptually you have to understand, ये लिखना वो सब नहीं है. Earth was first a rotating ball of fire. Due to rotation, the earth started cooling. When anything cools, there is a differentiation of densities. What do you mean by differentiation of densities? जो density which is greater will go and cool first and sink down. जो material है जो lighter density वो थोड़ा ऊपर आएगा, और lightest density और ऊपर आएगा. So that is why when we take the boiled egg after cooling, there is a settling down of densities. बिना कूल करे फोड़ो उसको, बिना हीट किए और कूल किए फोड़ो उसको, there is you cannot separate egg yolk from the egg white. So similarly, boil it, cool it, and the egg is divided into 3 different regions. So similarly, the earth while cooling, initially the denser parts जिसमें iron सबसे ज़्यादा था, जिसमें nickel was there, that layer went and settled down in the base, and we call that layer as core or Nephe layer. Then over the period of time, जो middle part था, which was having of a density, higher density as compared to the upper part, but lower density as compared to the inner part. Why lower density? Because instead of dominance of iron only, in the middle part there was a dominance of magnesium, there was dominance of some silica, there was dominance of little bit of an iron, but there was a dominance of silica and magnesium, and it went and settled down, resulting into the formation of mantle of the earth, जो हम बाद में पढ़ेंगे as a सीमा layer. And then just like अंडे का छिलका, the upper part of the earth cooled and settled down. और जैसे ही cooling होता है तो it started becoming solidifying, and as it solidified, it formed the crust of the earth, just like egg. But ये प्रोसेस इतना फास्ट हुआ कि इनर पार्ट ऑफ द अर्थ डिड नॉट कूल टू मच एक्सटेंट, एंड जब कूल नहीं हुआ टू मच एन एक्सटेंट, समटाइम्स द हीट इज थ्रोन आउट ऑन द सर्फेस ऑफ द अर्थ, व्हाट यू विल कॉल इट एज एन वॉल्केनोस और ज्वालामुखी, बिकॉज सम हीट इज ट्रैप्ड. Now you understand, that is why in any mythology, whether it is Hindu mythology, whether it is any Roman mythology, ज़मीन में, पाताल में, there is fire. Always. Take any mythology. I'm not asking you to read the mythologies, I'm asking you to understand some of the concepts of mythology which will help us in understanding. For example, Indian mythology says that Samudra Manthan mein se Meru Mandar came out, while geography of India says that Himalayas came out of a sea, that is the Tethys Sea. You see the linkages? Indian mythology says that Dwarka of Krishna went below the sea. Geography says the western coast of India is an example of a submerged coastline. Jewish and Islamic mythology says that if you have faith in God, at some places in the world, you can walk on the water. Science and geography says that due to salinity, density of water increases, and therefore human beings are not drowned. And in the desert region, therefore you will not be drowned in the Dead Sea. So, understanding these things here. Now, with this we can understand that when Earth started cooling, Earth was further divided into two parts. That is, initially kya bana? Initially there was a formation of the central part, what we will call it as an core. And this core has had a dominance of nickel, so Ni, and iron, therefore Nephi. Then the upper part had the dominance of silica and magnesium, and therefore we will call this layer as an Sima layer. Or this is nothing but mantle. While the uppermost part consisted of the crust, but Earth ka crust was further divided into two parts. जो heavier crust था, it went and settled down at the bottom and formed a depression, and जो lighter crust था, वो ऊपर रहा, and as a result of this, it gave rise to lighter crust, continents, and the denser crust, oceans. Again, lighter crust, continents, and the denser crust resulted into formation of oceans. Lighter crust, continents, and the denser crust again resulted into the formation of oceans, and thus there was the formation of continents and the depressions. When the earth started cooling, after the earth started cooling, there was centuries of rainfall, some meteors got hit, and therefore water crystals came and filled these depressions, and what we will call them today as an oceans. What today we call them as an oceans. So can I say the oceanic crust is slightly denser than the continental crust? Yes. In fact, oceanic crust is also made up of Sima, and the continental crust is made up of silica and aluminum, that is Sial. That is Sima and Sial. And the continental crust versus the oceanic crust. And after that, life originated. After Big Bang 13.5 billion years ago, Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago, and the life originated after much that. Now, I am asking you one simple question. What came first? Anda ya murgi? Or what came first? Oxygen or life? Why? Remember, pehle life came. When the earth was formed, it did not have oxygen at all. It was having only hydrogen and helium, and to some extent nitrogen, etc. There was no oxygen on the surface of the earth, in the earth's atmosphere. So oxygen to came बहुत later. So life originated in the water body as anaerobic respiration, generally anaerobic bacteria. Now over the period of time, this anaerobic bacteria increased. Some parts of this anaerobic bacteria came on the surface of the earth, and this anaerobic bacteria got converted into the cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria started doing the process of photosynthesis. Tab amount of carbon dioxide in the world which was there was very high. It was 21-22%. Aaj kitna hai amount of carbon dioxide in the world? 0.03% was the amount of carbon dioxide, is the amount of carbon dioxide today. That time it was much greater, 21-22% के आसपास, and oxygen was not there. Then came on the life, that is what is known as an anaerobic that is the cyanobacteria, and they started doing the process of photosynthesis. By doing the process of photosynthesis, they reduce the carbon dioxide, because what is photosynthesis? It takes the carbon dioxide, converts it into food and releases what? Oxygen, and thus the oxygen was released. And hence the amount of carbon dioxide in the world reduced and the oxygen increased. As the oxygen increased, the larger forms of life started coming. There were some animals who could live both in land and sea, and we will call them as amphibians. Then as the amount of oxygen increased, the larger forms of life came, and ultimately the biggest forms of life came, what are known as dinosaurs. Dinosaurs came in some period. But over the period of time, after the dinosaurs, there was continuous volcanic eruption. Remember, the earth was also cooling that time. And when there was a continuous volcanic eruption, what is the rule of life? Survival of the fittest. And what do you mean by survival of the fittest? जिसमें ताकत बहुत ज़्यादा है और जिसमें adaptation बहुत ज़्यादा है. Adaptation. Survival of the fittest means you should know how to adapt. कहाँ पे fight करना है और कहाँ पे भाग जाना है. So the survival of the fittest made sure that after the volcanic eruption, the large-bodied animals such as dinosaurs got extinct, but cockroaches survived. Cockroaches survived that period, and even today, cockroach is considered to be the most fit animal because it can easily adapt to the surroundings. It can so easily adapt to the surroundings, you can see it in your everyday life, just that you don't realize कि हर साल hit या बेगॉन स्प्रे का ad आता है, नया improved hit, new improved बेगॉन स्प्रे, new XYZ, good night advanced, अब good night express. So what is this? This is an adaptation. These animals are so quick at adapting that they have adapted themselves, and over the period after that, life realized that it has to be in smaller form, so the life started in smaller form. Ultimately, over the period, numerous climatic changes has occurred. That is, you should remember that earth has gone to the alternative phases of cold and warm. So in this recent years, there was one cold period, what is known as an ice age, and that is known as an Pleistocene ice age. And in this Pleistocene ice age, again, most of the parts of the world, including India, ka some part was under the ice caps and glaciers. You will not even imagine today कि India, जो hot region है, it was under the ice caps and glaciers. After the Pleistocene ice age, continents started coming or drifting together. So इसी Pleistocene ice age पे जो movie बनी है, that is Ice Age. And you see the last, at the end of an Pleistocene ice age, continents started going away from each other. Ice age का fourth part का नाम है continental drift. That is our theory which we are going to study now, the continental drift theory. And after the ice age ended, flooding हुआ. When the flooding occurred, most of the vegetation which was there, which was not under the ice, they got buried because of water. And when they got buried because of water, it gave formation of coal. After that, later on, much in the tertiary period, what was formed was the Himalayas. And after the formation of the tertiary period, in the latest period, quaternary period, is what is formed known as an human beings. What is today's human beings? Homo sapien sapiens. After the human beings came, जो एटमॉस्फेरिक कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड था 0.03% जो नेचर ने निकाल लिया था, हमने कुछ प्रोसेस करके ये एटमॉस्फेरिक कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बढ़ा दिया. एंड especially after the agriculture and industrial revolution, in the last 2000 years when there has been dominance of human beings, and jahan pe because of deforestation, because of agriculture, changing land use pattern, because of burning of the fossil fuels, and as a result of this we have global warming and climate change. And because of the global warming and climate change, there are now going to be the serious consequences. One of the serious consequences is if the temperature, abhi tak to has increased by 1.5%, if the temperature, global temperature increases by more 0.5%, Maldives nahi rahega world mein. Maldives will be below the sea. Maldives already know this, and therefore Maldives have purchased already a land on undisclosed location to shift the population in case the sea level rises. If the temperature increases by 4 degrees Celsius, there will be no Mumbai, there will be no Chennai, there will be no Kolkata, there will be no London, there will be no Washington, there will be no New York. Ye sari cities will be below the sea level. That is, the sea level increase is reality. Then, because of climate change and global warming, including pollution, what we have seen that human beings are suffering. And this last era, which has changed which human beings have changed, is known as an Anthropocene era. Is known as an Anthropocene, though it has not been told properly, but it is known as an Anthropocene. So this is the introduction of geography, and this is what is known as a geological time scale, जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया, how the earth was formed and what were the major changes. Again you see how important it is. Take this year's preliminary examination, इसी में से आपको 2 questions मिलेंगे. Fine, एक question was directly on the Anthropocene, and the second question was that when the earth was formed there was more than 50% of oxygen. True or false? False. When the earth was formed there was no oxygen at all. Fine with this? So the topic which we are going to study is the geological time scale. Geological time scale. And bracket में लिखना only for prelims. This will never come in the mains. Geological time scale. If you want to see the geological time scale, so you will see the page number 18 of 11th physical NCERT. Usme the geological time scale has been given. That is, you will understand what this time scale is, but we will be writing this time scale in detail. क्या याद रखना है? Not all that what is given in the page number 18, but what I am going to write on the board. This is what you will remember. So take down, the geological time scale is divided into eons, is divided into eons. Eon is the largest period of geological history of the earth. Eon, E-O-N-S, eon is the largest period of the geological history of the earth. Eons are further divided into era. Now what does it mean? सबसे बड़ा पीरियड कौन सा है? Eon. Eons का पार्ट है era. While the eras are further subdivided into periods, हम बार बार ये will come to this word Cretaceous period, tertiary period, कल ही हमने यूज किया. So tertiary period is a small subdivision of era. Tertiary in the periods, the periods have further subdivisions which are known as epoch. Thankfully, हम geography में eons नहीं करते हैं, even you should not do. So our geography will start from era, periods and epoch. So can I say this is something like this? कि एक ये, this is a chart, and in this chart we have सबसे पहले what? Eons. Eons के बाद era. Era के बाद we have periods. And periods के बाद we have epoch. And what we should remember is major events in this region. So क्या कब क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, the major events which are found in this region. So our history, our geological history starts from an era which is known as an, understand here then right, which is known as an Precambrian era. Precambrian era, 600 million years before the origin of human beings, or from today, 600 million years from today. That is what is known as an Precambrian era. Minimum 600 millions. ये जा सकता है 4.5 billion years तक भी, because that is the age of the earth. Now why we call it as an Precambrian era? Because we do not understand anything before a period which is known as an Cambrian period. So Cambrian से पहले, even with the present development of science and technology, we cannot identify anything कि exactly कब 600 to 4.5 to 600 बिलियंस में exactly कब हुआ, 1 बिलियन साल पहले हुआ, 600 बिलियन साल पहले हुआ, या 600 मिलियन या 1 बिलियन साल पहले हुआ. So we cannot say this. So that is the Precambrian era. And उसके बाद, see, it is very easy to understand. उसके बाद we divide the eras into Precambrian era के बाद we have Paleozoic era. After that we have Mesozoic era. And after that we have Cenozoic era. Simple English word है. Paleo means old, Meso means middle, Ceno means recent. So Paleozoic, Mesozoic and Cenozoic. यही पूछेगी UPSC, arrange them in the decreasing or increasing order of the age. They will give you 4, or they will give you era, period, epoch, etc. and they will ask you to arrange them in the decreasing or increasing order of the age. Then next what they ask you, next they sometimes ask you, abhi this Paleozoic is further divided into Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian, etc. This Mesozoic is further divided into Cretaceous, Jurassic, Triassic, etc. The Cenozoic is further divided into Tertiary and Quaternary, etc. There are numerous such subdivisions, but we will not remember all the subdivisions. हम वही subdivisions we will remember जिसमें any important geological event has happened. For example, Tertiary we will remember for formation of Himalayas. Jurassic we will remember as the age of dinosaurs. Cretaceous we will remember as the extinction of dinosaurs. And the formation of Maharashtra Plateau or Deccan Lava Plateau, or the formation of lava plateaus anywhere in the world. Why we remember this? Because जहाँ जहाँ lava plateau है, these are fertile regions. And जहाँ जहाँ fertile regions है, cotton is the most important crop, because in these regions we have black cotton soil. Or Paleozoic will remember Devonian as an age of the fishes. Or Precambrian we will remember as, which Indian landform was formed in the Precambrian era? Aravallis. So write about the Precambrian. First, origin of the earth. Origin of the earth. Around 4.5 billion years ago. 4.5 billion years. 4.5 billion years. When the earth was formed, It was rich in hydrogen. It was rich in hydrogen, helium, carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Helium, carbon dioxide and nitrogen. But oxygen was absent. See, यही concept हम environment में पढ़ेंगे when we'll say the most important gas for life is not oxygen, it is carbon dioxide. Oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis, and photosynthesis will occur only if there is an carbon dioxide. Oxygen is an important gas for only higher forms of life, that is maybe human beings या जो भी aerobic respiration करते हैं. Even in your body, muscles do anaerobic respiration, उनको oxygen की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती. So next, Precambrian era. Formation of oceans. Next point in the Precambrian era, Aravallis, which are the oldest fold mountains in the world. Belong to the Precambrian era. Next point in the Precambrian era, origin of life in the form of anaerobic respiration. And unicellular bacteria. Unicellular bacteria means single celled bacteria. Precambrian में ही next point, around 2500 million years ago, 2,500 million years ago, blue-green algae originated. And उसके बाद क्या form start हुआ? This process of photosynthesis. So I'll stop here. We'll meet tomorrow at 2:30. Any doubts in this? Give me 1 minute before going. I'll confirm tomorrow's current affairs timings. along with the combined batch. So those current affairs will start from 1st August itself. So thank you. Ma'am will leave the